You had Philip as a panelist, so walked in, sorry.
I did add him as a panelist. He should be
Okay.
able
Should
to.
go ahead and try to.
Share is enabled.
All right, so wanted to introduce Philip Salis, who is our new finance manager. Um, he is going to give an overview of the mid-year budget.
All right. Thank you everyone for being here. So just a high level overview today. Still finding my foot here. It's been a great month so far. All right, economic overview. We're gonna do the state of California perspective, governor's office. The effect that has on Clearlake and our perspective. Get some economic figures for that. And then we'll just touch upon our strategies. Finally finish with our budget recommendation. So current budget for coming fiscal year, 348.9 billion. That's up from last year. The budget is balanced, according to the governor's office, that's balanced in quotations. They said there's going to be a modest shortfall, about 2.9 billion. But they anticipated the bill to address that. Okay. 42 billion higher revenue projections from the previous projection, so it's up 6.7%. 3 billion increase to the budget stabilization account. So that's good. Last year they drew over 7 million from the account, so it's nice to add back to it. And that'll bring total reserve balance up to 18.9 billion. There's 87 billion in unused borrowable funds, so that gives some flexibility there. And still projecting multi-year deficits for fiscal year 28, 29, and 30. Next year it's looking like 22 billion over with current estimates. All right, GDP growth is remaining pretty steady. Projections for the coming 3 years are moved up slightly. So but still looking at a little around 2% coming years. Job growth is pretty much flat. Nationwide in the first 3 quarters of the year, there's a few 100,000 jobs added, but for the state of California, we lost nearly 40,000 jobs. Personal income growth is going to continue on the previous year's trends rates. Residential building permits are holding steady, so it's not looking to grow or shrink just for the next 2 years, but remain pretty flat based on current estimates. Slowly declining interest rates. Note on that there's a new Fed chair coming in May, so there may be change in the direction they're heading, but currently it's anticipated there'll be no changes in the interest rate until then. And we're projecting moderate inflation as well. Yeah, so there was some good news with inflation. It was originally anticipated to be 3.5% for the current period that they're looking at, but it's revised down to 2.8. And then 2.9 next year. So we're still above the 2% target that the Fed is targeting. Making it look like inflation better than anticipated. Here, property tax. Apologies for technical difficulties. Still higher than anticipated this year.
They actually came down.
That's,
Actually,
well, it's, you need to hide that little bar there. It's covering up the line. See where it says.
So currently, we're thinking we're going to recommend that we increase the budget for this revenue source. This is a conservative estimate. I think it's fair that it's probably coming right around, that amount or higher than that. This,
why do you think it's come down, or why has it come down?
so this is a conservative estimate, and the worst year we had on record was about 10 years ago, and it came down about 10%. So worst case scenario, it would drop down to that number based off of the data that we have available. We may very well be higher than that, but taking a conservative approach with this.
But it shows if it's actual. Even though that's-
Yeah, I mean, technically its actuals up to 1.4, close to 1.4 from last year, and with the budget adjustment that's recommended, actuals would be 1.2 for this fiscal year. I mean, you'll recall, I mean, there's a fair amount of uncertainty because of the county's property tax apportionment process that we've been struggling with. We've talked about a little as far as the way they've done tax options and paying us too much and then withholding from future amounts. And so it's good that it's possible that it's going to be higher, but we're still concerned because they have identified the possibility of withholding some of our portion money
Okay,
to cover prior years.
all right, that's what,
And this is a projection based off of, receipts to date. So actually we would depend here to the left. Clearlake real estate market, median sale price is down from last year, 25%. Number of homes sold is up. That was good. They're sitting a little longer on the market these days than they did last year. Last year was 39 days, currently 63 days. 2 years ago, 112 days. So the market appears to be slower. One of our major revenue sources here, sales, use, and transaction tax. Actuals from last year were 2 million, just over 2.067 million, and that's down 7% from the previous fiscal year. Things are anticipated to grow modestly over the next 3 fiscal years, so up to 2101, 2.141, and 2.187 in fiscal year 27 to 20. These revenue forecasts come from HDL. They're a firm that we contract with, and they're pretty much fairly accurate each year. It comes in real close, just within a couple percentage points, tenths of a percentage point. So I think we anticipate that. So this is a quick overview of the sales tax revenues fiscal year 23 compared to 24. You'll see that it's a downturn in most instances. General consumer goods, state account pools, food and drugs came down. Fuel and service stations, restaurants and hotels, slight uptick. It's 0.5% uptick. Building and construction, also down. Autos and transportation, pretty much flat. Business and industry drops slightly as well. So this trend is pretty consistent here, just slightly down, but it's anticipated to go next year. Measure B, just on 1% sales tax. It was levied for like road construction purposes. Fiscal year 24-25 actual of 2.4 million. That's down nearly 5% from the previous fiscal year. Current forecast, again from HDL, they're anticipating that that'll go up 2% in the following fiscal year, 25-26, and 26-27.
what do we owe here?
1.5 million. I think 1.5 million.
So that leaves roughly
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads us to our budget recommendations. These are, increased expenditure that we're looking at, so contract services miscellaneous. We're already a little bit above that budget, and last year we were at 95. So we're recommending that we put in a based off of previous year activity and anticipated hours. Yeah, there was a part-time staff hire that we didn't anticipate.
Well, this is really related to the rental registration program, the increased costs that you see here. Staff.
30,000 for finance. Want to cover myself. We need development. That there as well. So, notice that we're anticipating additional revenue beyond the additional expenses, so that's good. We'll help backfill some structural deficit. So on the revenue side, property tax secured, it's at 1.246 million that we saw in that line chart graphic. And again, that's conservative. She's may very well come in above that. But I think it's pretty safe bet. Property tax in lieu of vehicle license fees. Similar mechanism to secure property taxes. Anticipating that will go up. It's pretty steady year over year, based off of receipts that we've already received and project out. Franchise fee for waste solution. Something like a good year for that. Enforcement fees, this has already been received today. The rental registry, registration fees and inspection fees, this is just ramping up. So tracking it this year, so we're anticipating this amount. Then income receipts are pretty low. So we think that was a big one. It's just maybe down a bit. Development impact fee cannabis, again, just particularly low activity this year. Playing fees, similarly low activity. That one's a little bit harder to project. There's some just particularly big occasionally from time to time. Generally is like 1 to 2, like outliers like that annually. We've already had one this year, so we're not anticipating another particularly large project, large fees. Sales tax, this is based off of the HDL projection. This is what they're projecting for the fiscal year. Last year, they were within less than 0.5% of their projection, so I think that's a good win. And then transit occupancy tax, based off of what we're seeing, it's looking like it's going to go down as well. In part, that ties to restaurants and hotels. We're anticipating that might go up slightly next year. We're seeing it like 0.4%. Okay, so key takeaways. First two are the same as last year. It's following the trend. Budget's on track, small adjustments. Continue to spend discretionary funds conservatively and maintain efforts to reduce structural deficit further. So we'll be looking at new ways to bring in additional revenues, any cost savings that we incur would be great. And that does it for my presentation. Any comments, questions? One last thing. Would move to approve mid-year budget adjustments. They appear as business item number 4. And you'll see the resolution number there. With that, any questions or comments?
Interested use predict at 2.9 inflation. And but the adjustments is at 1.7. And this, did I look at that right? I think that was 1.7 higher. And but it's like
Well, just to be clear, what is
no
projection?
no, I know. I'm just trying to go down.
So,
What was the question again?
It says see the difference. Get one number of
Inflation.
1.7 and one was inflation.
Inflation,
Yeah,
2.9 and 1.7.
Might be.
Not, it's not.
so, yeah, I didn't have it written down. But for inflation, they were anticipating 3.5 for the current fiscal year, but they revised it down to 2. And then the following year, 2.9. And then the following year, it's a little fuzzy, but basically around 3%.
So if income comes down, goes up 1.7% roughly, and inflation is 2.9, we'll get it behind.
That's what they're saying, yeah. It's true. So the personal income was mostly driven by these dividends, increased wages, but see what you're saying, if inflation outpaces.
Yeah. Unless you're in the stock market. Huh?
Any other question?
No.
Budget? It's way too easy this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't see on the judging the gold in there. Is that, does that have to do with this and then it comes from the local government?
I mean, that's gonna be coming out of our capital project funds, so I mean, it's already budgeted, so we don't really need to make an adjustment.
Okay.
Do that. I mean, I was a little worried that we may have to cancel reserves in order to make that payment, but it doesn't look like we're gonna need to do that, so
Has that been figured?
no.
When's the deadline for that?
There isn't a specific deadline, but it's gonna be going out very soon. So.
Well.
I guess,
Well, we
I
haven't,
guess that's it. You guys got plenty of time to get ready for the rest of the year.
Maybe some servers. I don't, okay, the last thing we talked about the lighting district as a source of revenue, or we're not.
No, I mean, that's still in the works. We have, we're gonna be having a presentation to the council pretty soon on the findings of that. And then just last week, I talked to our municipal finance advisor, who is going to be working on preparing financing options for that, as well as the request to look at recreation related measure. So
Yeah.
that's going to be coming back.
That's good.
Eventually, yeah. But we'll get all the numbers, see what the options are.
We get a few years then.
Yeah.
all right, well, we'll recess till 6 o'clock. Clearlake City Council, Clearlake City Hall, Council Chambers 14050, Olympic Drive, Clearlake. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Wilson,
Present.
Councilmember Hooten,
Here.
Councilmember Kramer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Downey,
Here.
and Mayor Slotin.
Here. So stand for the pledge of allegiance. Harry, lead us in the pledge. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please remain standing. Moments of silence, please. Okay, thank you. We'll go now over the meeting procedures. All items on the agenda are open for public comment. Before final action is taken, citizens wishing to introduce written material into the record at the public meeting on any item are requested to provide a copy of that material to the Administrative Service Director / City Clerk, who sits on the end of over there prior to the meeting. Speakers must restrict comments to items as it appears on the agenda and stay within 3-minute time limit. The mayor has the direction of limiting the total discussion time on any item. The council cannot answer questions or provide comment while citizens are giving their public comment. Once your comments are complete, the mayor may refer you to staff for follow-up. If you're on Zoom, please note that only written comments will be taken via Zoom using the Q&A chat feature. Please enter your comments into the Q&A chat. All right, we'll move to the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Flora?
No modifications, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Please go to your meeting, your voting portal. Seems like we have a. Yeah, mine's not refreshing. The portal doesn't seem to be working. Can we have a voice vote? All in favor?
I
Anybody abstain or no? Okay, we move on to public comments. We have Jean Yannick. Please come to the podium, ma'am.
My name is Jean Yanich. I would like to start by saying thank you to Russ and Tara for their support and help during the exchange from North Bay Animal Services to Clearlake Animal Center. I'm asking that the City Council and the Clearlake Police Department file charges with the district attorney against Mark Scott and North Bay Animal Services. No records of the 114 dogs left at the shelter were provided to the Clearlake Animal Director. Also, no vaccination records were provided, which is required by law. This has led to Giardia and Parvo outbreak. The conditions of the shelter and the dogs left there were horrific and criminal. Over 50 emaciated dogs were taken in by out-of-county shelters and rescues. They now have the expense of quarantining those dogs along with the extensive vet care needed because of the outbreak. In closing, the citizens of Clearlake are asking that you hold North Bay Animal Services criminally and financially responsible. And I wanted to get this on the record. Thank you very much.
We have Rachel Widener, please.
Hi. Okay, let me pull up my notes. Hi, my name is Rachel Widener, and I'm a homeowner on Snook Avenue. That's the neighborhood behind Foods Etc. If you don't know. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware and just bring to your attention, there is a homeless encampment that is behind Foods Etc. that has become more of a concern over the last few months. At the beginning, when the encampment showed up, shortly after other encampments were kind of cleared away, the neighborhood really was trying to be understanding. We know that times are hard. We know that people are struggling, and no one wanted to be that person to say, clean it up. However, it's really become a safety issue. In the field behind Foods Etc., more and more tents keep popping up. Every day it seems like there's more. They're building deeper and deeper into the woods so that you can't see them from the road. And right now there are at least 8 dogs, last we counted, in a pack that is there. These dogs have been terrorizing the neighborhood, and to the point of it truly becoming a dangerous situation. My uncle, who lives one street over, he was unable to come tonight. He has lost more than 20 chickens and ducks to these dogs. They are breaking into his fence and they are killing the animals and leaving the carcasses. He has 2 little girls that play in that yard, and he has went down and tried to reason with the people in this encampment to, put the dogs on a leash, put them on a chain, do something. And it's become screaming matches. Just recently, our neighbor up the street came up to my husband to tell him that he had been bit by the pack of dogs. He was walking down from his residence on Snook Avenue down to Foods Etc., which a lot of us in the neighborhood do. It's honestly faster to walk down to the store than get in your car. And he was walking down, gonna get a nice stretch. The dogs came out of nowhere before he knew what happened. He had been bitten by multiple dogs. He went and tried to reason with the people at the encampment, tried to find out if the dogs had been vaccinated. None of them had. He ended up in the hospital getting rabies vaccines. He came to tell my husband what had happened because he feared for our 5-year-old daughter, who he knows is always playing in the front yard. Even if she's in a fence, she will not be safe. I was driving my car up the road just last week, and I noticed 2 little boys in the neighborhood walking their dog on a leash, exactly as they should be able to safely. And I noticed the pack of dogs begin to run at them. I was able to luckily swerve my Jeep towards these dogs. I did not care at that point what happened to those dogs. And I was able to stop them long enough for the boys to run and get away. We have a lot of foot traffic in our neighborhood, and now it's becoming truly unsafe. For me as a homeowner, my next worry is the fire risk.
Thank you for your public. Okay, anybody else that wants to make public comments, please come up and. Excuse me? That's all fine. You have your name and.
Yes, I'm Harvey Bateman, citizen of Clearlake. And I didn't come up here to complain. I wanted to thank the city and Alan and the chief. I know a lot of people are going to complain about it, about the cameras that you'll be getting into the city. I'm here to thank you for it. And you can plant one in my front yard if you want. So, and I also wanted to compliment animal control on the job that they are doing. They got hit hard in an unpredictable situation, but and I know Tara was quite instrumental in it, and I want to thank the city council and all for what they have done and the progress that the city has made in Clearlake. I know a lot of people don't see that. They'll look at their neighbor or down the street, but they don't drive around to really see the progress that has been done. And I'm here to thank you for that. And, and for animal control, if I was able to, I would be down there with them and stuff. But I am supporting you 100%. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good. Next person, please.
Hi, my name is Kevin Thompson. I reside here in Clearlake. And I, going along with what Rachel was talking about, the situation on Snook, it really is that bad. First Assembly of God Church, we're right across the street actually from Rachel's house. And so there's the full view of the encampment. Dogs all the time. Even yesterday, I had to chase 2 dogs off the property at church. And on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night, 60 to 100 people in the parking lot, and there's dogs. So, the one last night happened to be friendly, so that was nice, but we have a lot of kids at that church and, with the safety risk that Rachel's talking about, it is very real. So it'd be nice if we could do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the chamber that wants to have a comment? Please come up and state your name, sir.
Hello, my name is Adam Duvall. My question is about the spill that happened in Highlands. I was just curious how the initial report, how the big discrepancy was possible. How it went from 2,000 gallons in 2 hours to 2.9 million.
Excuse me, sir. There's an item on the agenda that will address some of these things, so maybe you can have your comment at that point.
Okay.
Thank you. It's item number 6 on the agenda, so then hang on for a little bit and we'll get to that item. Anybody else in the chamber? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll move now to the consent calendar. And anybody wants to pull an item? There are 3 items listed. No? Okay. Anybody in the public have a comment? If not, go ahead.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Hopefully our voting thing will work now. It does. Very good. We go now to business.
Pardon me, Mr. Mayor, I just need to announce that the motion passed with unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you. This is item number 4, consideration of adopting the First Amendment to the fiscal year 2025-26 budget resolution 2025-26 for midterm adjustments. That is resolution 2026-07. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and council members, we don't have any further presentation. We had the budget workshop earlier, but if you have any questions on the recommended adjustments, be happy to address those.
Anybody comments from the council? If not, anybody from the public wants to comment on this item? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 2026-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clearlake adopting the First Amendment to the fiscal year 2025-26 budget, making mid-year adjustments.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. We'll go to our portal. Doesn't seem, oh, there we go.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Go to item number 5, consideration of authorization of the city manager to execute a contract with the lowest bidder for the demolition of numerous structures. I believe Chief Hops and Lieutenant Peterson item.
Yes, Lieutenant Ryan Peterson will be presenting the item.
Switch out the glasses here. Mr. Mayor, Council. So the purpose of today's item is to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Case Excavating in the amount of $67,675 for the demolition and abatement of real property. Give you an overview. The properties were determined to be public nuisance and health and safety hazards. All required legal notices were issued to the property owners. An order to abate was mailed to each property owner as long as being posted on the properties. And a notice of intention to abate was mailed to each property owner also posted on the properties. Each property owner has failed to come into compliance or abate their violations. So in January 2024, code enforcement applied for a CalRecycle grant for the demolition and abatement of properties. We were awarded that grant in the summer of 2024 in the amount of $477,469. With since we've had a round 1 and round 2 of abatements, and with the remaining funds, we had a round 3, which is what was on board right now. January 12th, code enforcement issued a notice inviting for bids for the demolition and abatement of the real properties. Contractors attended a pre-bid meeting on January 28th, and then the bids were open. 4 received bids were open today. Bid process for the contractors is City of Clearlake conducted a comprehensive bid process for the demolition and abatement of the nuisance properties. Total of 4 bids again were received for demonstrating strong interest in competitive pricing for the project. City has received a bid from Case Excavating in the amount of $67,675, which was the lowest responsive and responsible bid while meeting all project requirements. Selection was based on remaining grant funds, cost effectiveness, contractor qualifications, and adherence to the project scope. So as you'll see here on this graph, for the selected properties, these were the bid amounts. So again, Case was $67,675. Share Excavating came in at $76,667. Kimball Construction at $108,210, and the Kirby Construction Company Incorporated at $343,130. So grant fund allocation, this contract is funded through the CalRecycle Legal Disposal Site Grant Program, which awarded the city the $477,469 for the property abatements. The remaining grant funds will be allocated for this third phase, ensuring continued progress in addressing blight and public safety concerns. Upon city council approval, city manager will execute the contract, allow abatement work to proceed as scheduled. This project represents a significant step in Clearlake's ongoing efforts to improve public safety, eliminate hazardous structures, and enhance residents' overall quality of life. So next are just the overviews of each property. So the property located at 3162 9th Street. In round 2, we had abated the property next door to this, and also Habitat for Humanity owns a few properties that are in this area and said once this house is gone, then they're going to be developing, building homes out there. So that's one of the reasons this was a priority. 5875 Huron Avenue. Again, a lot of dilapidated trash, RV, unsafe structure. 4788 West 40th is a partially burnt out structure. We get numerous complaints on this structure. The upper areas where you see the burnt on the right, in the lower area, we get complaints of homeless breaking into it and sleeping, and we just need, from the complaint amount, we are going to be needing to abate that. And then 4771 West 40th Avenue, again, same type of situation, being a attractive nuisance. And finally, 14241 Sonoma Way. You can't really see much from these 2 pictures, but there's a great accumulation of trash, debris, and fire hazards that are on this property. That's the end of the report. If you have any questions.
Any questions from council here? If not,
The photos you showed were not of all the properties on here.
No, so the remaining grant funds, we selected 12. Part of the reason is during phase 1 and phase 2, people have self-abated their properties. So that's what kept making us going to another round and another round. So it was the thought for the best was to do a large accumulation of properties so that if anybody self-abated, we wouldn't have to go for a round 4. And even in this round, a couple of the properties are currently self-abating.
So all of the numbers on the staff report are not all going to be abated now?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the bids were done for all of the properties on the list. And these were selected as the highest priority ones with the available funding based on the per property bid amount.
thank you. Anybody, any question from the council? If not, anybody from the public wants to comment on this? Mark?
Hi, everybody. Margaret Garcia, City of Clearlake. I just wanted to mention regarding these properties that you guys are cleaning up. I happened to see a property recently, like a week ago, that I work in the area, so I'm out and about, and this property had been a huge eyesore. I mean, incredible. When I saw it 2 weeks ago, it was amazing. The improvement, it just made the whole street look better. It was a corner property on 14th that made everything just look so nice. And so I'm sure the neighbors on that street are extremely happy about that. And it's just great to see some of this stuff cleaned up. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? If not, any comments on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
We'll bring it back to the council. Anybody wants to make a motion?
I move to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with the lowest bid for the demolition and abatement of the real properties as described above.
Okay.
I'll second that.
You have a motion and a second. Okay, madam. Okay.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
A short recess here. All right, we'll go to item number 6, update on a Robin Lane sewer spill emergency. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, council members, just provide a little bit of a verbal update on the status of the sewer spill. Most of the last week and a half, 2 weeks has been coordinating and waiting on the water filtration and sanitization systems to arrive. Those are expected to be here tomorrow. And so we've been working to line up a number of contractors to begin installation over the next couple of weeks. So that's all really exciting because this is really the only sort of long-term solution to this issue. There's also been a lot of effort into making sure that we're getting recent tests of all of those properties because we want to have a test install the filtration system and then test after the filtration system is installed to confirm that is working properly. So our hydrologist is continuing to analyze and monitor a number of things and request additional specific sampling sites for her analysis. So we'll see what comes out of that, but those are kind of the main things that we've been focusing on. Because of the extraordinary cost of some of the short-term solutions related to showers, laundry, that type of thing. A couple of weeks ago, we transitioned some of those services to other options. From time to time, we get some criticism about those decisions, but fortunately, most people are in their homes and are able to do that, and the demand for those services is very small. But they are available until folks can get a filtration system. Now, we had estimated that as many as 164 homes are within the zone and would need a filtration system. We have our application process on the website. As of the end of business today, we have 79 applications. And we have ordered the delivery tomorrow will include 100 of these systems. So the idea is to install those and see if additional ones need to be ordered. That's all that they had in stock at the time. So we're continuing to call folks out there, encourage them to apply. We do want to get all those 100 systems installed. Over the weekend, properties that we have not been able to have phone contact with will be given a flyer by someone, or it will be left at their house, encouraging them to go ahead and apply. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we are sort of finally seeing, hopefully, the end of the emergency nature of this incident. There's a lot of long-term planning and other things that will come out of it. Obviously, we heard the gentleman earlier, there's a lot of questions about the system that will need to be addressed at some point. Those are questions that are most appropriately addressed to Lake County special districts. It's not, the system isn't owned and operated by the city. But anyway, that's kind of the high level report that I have for the council, other than just appreciate the amazing work that our city staff, the Lake County Sheriff's Office, and a number of other agencies have done in support of our community. It's been more effort than most realize, but it was the right thing to do. So,
Thank you. Any questions from council here?
Yeah. And you have one, the next round of testing, water testing is, I had heard today and tomorrow. Did that happen, or is that happening?
well, yeah, there's been testing done this week. And so I assume there's testing happening tomorrow as well. Yeah, every day it's continuing. So
You're calling or just stopping by?
yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
we're
I
not
have a
calling
personal
ahead.
interest
We're
here.
you know, doing like we have done, I think, throughout the incident, which is we request a number of testing teams. We organize that, and then we give them a list of locations that we want them to test that day. They go out, attempt to test. Sometimes, you know, there's a dog or there's a locked gate, or they don't always get to all of those. Someone's not home, but and then we continue to go through we're attempting to get tests of all of these locations before the filtration systems are installed, and then we'll again do it after installation.
So you're trying to get after the rains too?
Well, that will be interesting. Yeah, the hydrologist is interested to look at the data because the rain obviously was significant enough that she expects to see most likely a short-term increase in some of the test results as some contaminants maybe are flushed into the aquifer, but then the volume of water should quickly flush out for more beneficial long-term recoveries.
Okay. Any other questions here? If not, any public comment? Now's your time, sir.
Hello, my name is Adam Duval. Obviously he said that the county deals with the water, but what I'm curious about specifically is why, when there was a change in numbers, when it went from 2,000 gallons in 2 hours to, you know, almost 3 million gallons in almost 40 hours, why was something not announced by the city before the newspaper asked them about that and got a clarification on the numbers?
Okay. Mr. Laura, you want to address that?
I want to just make sure if he has any other questions in his 3 minutes, and then I can address.
Any other questions, sir?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think the incident management team had some concerns about where the numbers came from, and so it wasn't something that we really wanted to reflect in our messaging, and so we relied on special districts, as is their responsibility, to report what they chose to report to the State Water Board and Cal OES, and those numbers have been shared. But I think there deserves to be scrutiny of the numbers that were reported.
Thank you. I think that's it.
Thank you. All right, any other comments on this item, right? Okay.
My name's Stephanie Hummel, I'm here in Clearlake. And I'm in the white zone. I never heard anything about the white zone. So right now I am like just waiting. And I talked to the young lady. And I just think that I know I'm on the bottom of the totem pole, but if there's like a lot of things that are ordered and there's leftovers, then I would like my well to be addressed. But right now, as it stands, the people behind me, which are 20 feet from my well, tested negative, and the people in front of me are testing negative. But I say for some reason, we know that God's in control. He's watching over us. So I'm not complaining or doing anything right now. I'm just gonna wait it out and see what happens. So maybe later I'll come and talk to Alan, and the girls have been very helpful. And as far as if I wanted to do the portal or whatever it all is. And so like I said, I'm just gonna wait it out and hope for the best.
Thank you.
So, but that's the white zone.
Mr. Flora looks like he has a comment.
Well, we need to talk, this isn't the forum to talk about your specific case, but I would just say that there is going to be a deadline on the systems. We need to determine the end to this emergency situation. And so we're asking people to request the filtration sanitization systems by the end of next week. So I would encourage you, if you need any help filling out the application, you can contact me, you can come to City Hall, and we will help you complete the application.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There is a comment on Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Could you read it, please?
I can. This comes from Josh Margulis, who states, there have been many man-made disasters across the United States in recent years, and many of them leave the people affected with long-lasting property damage and health issues. With nearly 3 million gallons of sewage spilled, affecting more than 200 families, how are you going to ensure that people are taken care of? And how are you going to ensure this doesn't happen again?
My comment would be that it's a special districts that at the end is responsible. The only reason the city got involved is because we felt we could do a better job and organizing the testing and et cetera. Okay, any other comments? If not, go to item number 7, discussion on transitioning the city treasurer from an elected to an appointed position via the November 26th ballot measure. Madam Clerk, I believe, is going to give the staff report on this.
Yes. One moment. Honorable Mayor and council members, tonight you have before you a recommendation to discuss the potential transition of the city treasurer position from an elected to an appointed office, and to provide direction to staff on whether to proceed with a ballot measure for the November 2026 general election. The city treasurer position is required by Government Code Section 36501 as one of the basic positions of a general law city. Further, the duties of the treasurer are described in Government Code Section 41001, which is included in your staff report. Approximately 2/3 of California cities appoint their treasurer to ensure that the individual managing public funds possesses specific professional qualifications, certifications, and technical expertise. Since 2006, the city manager has served as treasurer due to a lack of qualified candidates after the last elected treasurer retired. City Manager Flora currently oversees the daily financial operations and the finance department and has delegated treasurer duties to the finance director. Transitioning the treasurer to an appointed position would allow for a more streamlined integration of financial reporting and investment management under the city's professional administrative structure. Elected candidates are only required to be registered voters and residents of the city. An appointed treasurer can be required to hold a degree in finance, accounting, or public administration and possess relevant experience in municipal investment strategies. In 2016, council put forth a ballot measure to change both the city clerk and the city treasurer position to appointed. The treasurer measure did not pass at that time. To change an elected office to an appointed one, the city must follow the process outlined in Government Code Section 36508, which is also included in the staff report. So tonight, first of all, the council's action to change this position to an appointed position, the council must vote on an ordinance to submit the question to the voters via a ballot measure. Second, it requires voter approval. The ballot measure must be passed by a simple majority of Clearlake voters during a municipal election, which will happen in November of this year. Finally, if approved, the change typically takes effect at the end of the current incumbent's term. In this case, the current term ends November 3rd, 2026. If council directs staff to move forward, there will be costs associated with placing a measure on the November ballot, including election services and legal fees for drafting the impartial analysis. In the long term, the appointed position may involve a salary adjustment commensurate with professional requirements. This is often offset by increased operational oversight and reduced risk. It is appropriate at this time for your council to discuss and determine if the treasurer position shall be changed from elective to appointive, and I or City Attorney Drexel can answer questions you may have. That's my report.
Council here? No.
I just want to clearly understand. So we just have not had anybody run for this position?
That is correct.
What would the cost be versus appointed or elected?
You want to answer that one, Alan?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think, I think we're doing fine without having someone in that separate position. So, it wouldn't be my intention to, create a new position and fill that on a full-time basis, right? I mean, I think ultimately those responsibilities could just be rolled into the finance director's responsibilities, like it's essentially currently happening. I mean, they're delegated to me and then the finance department is doing that. correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the stipend, so there's not like really a salary with the elected treasurer position. I think it's a $200 a month stipend.
So the stipend for the treasurer is 300 a
300.
month and no medical benefits.
I mean, so just, Ms. Swanson mentioned this a little bit, but when the clerk was converted from elected to appointed, it was essentially rolled. I mean, there's still the need for those duties, but the administrative services director position was created, and the city clerk those responsibilities became the responsibility of the administrative services director. In this case, I don't think there wouldn't be a need to create anything. Those duties would just be a part of the finance director's responsibilities, or at least that would be my recommendation.
Any other comments?
And, well, maybe you just want to.
Yeah, and in fact, that's something we could we could put into the ordinance, that our intent is to roll the responsibilities of the treasurer into the finance department. Because, we're gonna have the same problem finding somebody, so that's kind of typically what cities do.
And you could envision the community being concerned that, I don't know, we're gonna get rid of this and create another new high paying position or something, which is not the intent at all.
So,
Councilman Kramer.
so what you're looking for from us now is just direction on whether to proceed with the ballot measure.
Yeah, I mean, there's really two options. One, if you do nothing, it'll just go ahead and go on the ballot. But if you want us to take this step, then we would work to create, I guess, is it an ordinance that would
Yes,
go
we'll
on
just,
the ballot?
it's just direction to prepare an ordinance for your consideration that will then come before the
Come
council.
to you and you would make a decision to actually put it on the ballot.
Yeah, that's the first step to get it on the ballot for the voters to decide.
Is an ordinance.
Yes, correct.
All right. And that would happen soon, if we gave you that direction.
Yes, I think once the ordinance passes, it's about 90 days, I think, the deadline before the election. So it would be on the November, as soon as we could get on, would be the November 2026 general election.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we do need a vote on this. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the agenda action that's recommended is just direction to staff. I mean, I think unless consensus.
The vote would come when the resolution is.
Correct. There'll be a formal vote. So it would just be consensus if you want.
If there's disagreement about the direction, then of course you could vote. If you
Okay. Okay, before that, we might, anybody from the public wants to comment on this item? If not, there is. Come to the podium, please, ma'am. Sorry.
Do you clarify what you guys are saying? Cause I feel like there's a bit of jargon in what you guys are saying. I'm just a little bit confused. Is the default that it's appointed currently, or is it currently elected?
It's currently by default is the city manager.
Oh, okay, so it currently doesn't exist. Okay.
The position does exist. It is an elected position.
But no one runs for it.
If it's not filled with anyone, which has been the case
Yeah.
for a significant period of time, then the Clearlake Municipal Code essentially delegates, I guess, or transfers the responsibilities of the city treasurer to the city manager.
That seems like the reasonable way to do it. Yeah, thank you.
All right, any more public comment? If not, anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
We'll bring it back to the council. So I think you have, anybody wants,
I think we should go ahead with directing them, staff to, discuss this resolution.
everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, your direction.
Thank you.
Okay, we go to city manager and council member reports. Mr. Flora, do you have a report?
I really have nothing to report tonight.
Okay. Council member Hooten, do you have anything to report?
I do not have anything to report.
Council Wilson, do you have anything to report?
I attended the Lake County Clean Water Program Management Council meeting this afternoon. They were supposed to give a grant overview, but they did not have the report ready. They did talk about there's still $43,000 worth of the trash grant left, and they would like to invite the city to submit a proposal or city agencies a proposal for cleanup in the city because they'd like things to be more visible. And the adopt a drain project is going well as well, and so is the their outreach programs. And that's all that I have to report.
Okay. Councilman Kramer, you have anything to report?
I have nothing to report.
Vice Mayor Downey, you have anything to report?
I just have one thing to report. I attended bingo at the which was fantastic. Miss Swanson was there and it was fun. I brought my daughter and her little friend and we all played bingo. They thought it was the hardest thing ever. They're 12-year-olds. But it was a lot of fun and quite a turnout. The place was packed and it just seems like it's growing and I think it was great and I encourage everyone to come and it was fun.
I appreciate that. If I could add briefly, I think it's the biggest one we've had yet, and we are prepared to move it to the senior center if it keeps growing. So one thing it reminds me to point out that the spring camp is coming up, so information about that is in the newsletter. I think it's a pretty cool one, something we haven't done before, where Reynolds Systems is actually going to be helping teach robotics at the spring camp. And then they've also included some budgeting classes, which I think is a great idea for kids. And then one of the days you can actually get your food service certificate as a part of it. So just spread the word if you could. And scholarships are available. And then Miss Swanson's trying to raise her hand over there. So I don't know what she.
I just want to invite everyone to our next bingo night, which will be March 7th at the youth center.
If I could piggyback on that, I want to point out that the staff has been really working hard to make sure that there are prizes and volunteering their time and their efforts, and the rest of us should step up and donate some stuff too.
Great. I have just a small report on the APC meeting. Where there seemed there was nothing really on APC about on Lake Links. There was some issues about some contracts or insurance that I think both Councilman Kramer and I voted against because it was should have been included in to start with. So that's really all I have to say. If not, any future agenda items? If not, we'll adjourn to closed session. Thank you all for coming.